Good evening. My name is Misoon Donahue, and this is a meditation center for conscious thinking and conscious living. On Thursday night meditation, our discussion has been and continues to be, it is what is to live conscious life. I remember my husband joking, saying I have not been accused of that too often, because oftentimes every single one of us have so much to do in this life, just trying to survive, so you don't really think about it. We try to do the right thing, we go on with our lives, but really give thought as, are we living conscious life? Well, for whatever reason, that is the question I've been asking most of my life. So I have been continue asking. And so we're going to be continuing this conversation in that. And I think at this particular time in the world, not just in this country, because this is I am an American, we live in America, so being recorded in America, and we certainly got a lot going on right now, and some people's hair is on fire, so to speak. And some, people are saying, like, we don't remember the world being like this. Recently I heard was one of the channeler who said, oh no, the world has been a lot worse than this before. We have lived through this. Like, world has been getting better and better, actually. And she was giving example, like, when you look back in your ancestral stories or history, that they chopped the people's head off and put them on a stick and did all sorts of things. So when you look at it that way, that's absolutely true. So in terms of, I think we've been improving our consciousness, I will agree, been improving. Now, how do we live a life has meaningful life? Because time is precious. It's not about getting more or living longer and having more. Are you happy? Are you joyful? What brings you joy? Because at the end of the day, that this life will expire. And so I'm going to kind of carry this, because it's not a long segment. This is not about a channeling. It's not about the prediction. It's about, for what I bring into this world, it's about how do we navigate and negotiate from what I do. And what I do is, I've been searching, is God somewhere? That asking, where are you, God? Whose God is better, God? So this is a question that I've been posing since I was a child. So I've been in search of religion, spirituality. But at the bottom line is, what I found is that we have to use our own brain that has been given to us. Every organization and every religion can sell to you, and I certainly have attended many religions and studied them pretty much all in some fashion. But it's when that your heart, your consciousness, your intuition, we always know better, but we go against it because we kind of like to fall more, that we go in and we surrender our intelligence, from what I can see. And what a tragedy is that, when you know it doesn't work for you, it's not a good thing for everybody, but we still kind of go along with it because because it's easy and it's comfortable. And then maybe perhaps at the end of our lives, we go, oh my God, I shouldn't have done it. Oh, a little bit too late, because you just spent all your currency doing it, right? So if we can wake up and be joyful, be helpful, that's great. So I'm going to just take in a little bit. In 2026 is coming in, and I started on 2025. I think we are in, and all the astrologers, all the channelers, because if you're listening to me, a lot of people are doing kind of into this spiritual journey. I decided some time ago that I think it runs in my DNA, that I was born this way. And I have done this thousands and thousands times over in many lives, which has been playing out to be good. That means you're not supposed to think about yourself. To be a good person, that you're supposed to be sacrificing, that you're supposed to be stoic. In other words, but I think that's a very female trait. Like when you're supposed to take care of children, and you take care of your parents, you do this, and even you don't like it, you don't like something, you're not supposed to say it because that's not nice. But then again, but the thing is, depends how you say it. And so in other words, we've been taught to tolerate, but more than anything else, for me, that what I recognize at this point was, it's like a come to Jesus meeting with myself. Truth, honesty. Reality of the matter is, I have been always serving, trying to do good and do everything all my life. I ask myself, why? Why? What drives me? What makes me think that that's what I have to do? And I realized part of them was because I thought if I sacrifice, I was a good person, and I wanted to be a good person. Those were all riddled with the religious supporting of it. And if I wasn't trying to be helpful and save the world, I wasn't such a good person. Also, as a compassion goes, we all do. I'm not excluded from it. Is that all of you who's listening and who's in this room, is we are filled with compassion. But compassion for everybody else, and oftentimes not for ourselves. And when we do that, we resent it. Like it or not, that's part of us inside of you. You will resent it in some form or some fashion. You're going against yourself because you're not taking care of yourself. And you know that. And then when you want to say, no, I don't want to do that. No, and I want that. But you don't because you think it's going to make you look bad or selfish or a bad girl or a bad woman or whatever. So when you think about it, so really we have done all these things for approval. Approval from the world, approval from the church, synagogue, mosque, from our parents, because we want them. But who wants somebody to think that you are a bad person? Nobody. But what price are you willing to pay for this? So my thing was at this age, I'm going to be 73, that my conclusion that I came to is, what do I want to do with the remainder of my life? And I should have come to this conclusion a long time ago, because I thought being a stoic, being a martyr, and that's an honesty, I thought that meant I was a good person. And why did I needed somebody else to tell me that I was a good person? Because I am a good person. But I needed society approval. Isn't this, all of us are suffering from that? So I need to let that go, let it go. I don't need somebody else. Am I being a good person? Am I waking up every single day trying? Does my heart break when somebody's going through a tragedy? Of course. And do I do best I can to be helpful as I can? Of course I am. But do I need somebody to know that I am that person? For God's sakes, absolutely not. But we are slave to this, all of us, in some form or some way. So I decided I was putting me back on the table, seat at the table. I was going to ask so every time that if I was going to give something to somebody or do something for somebody, that I'm not going to judge myself, but may say I don't want to do it at this particular moment, or that I want something. So I'm going to take that piece and save it for myself. I'm going to take care of me, because who am I? I am a child of God, the divine, this light, and I am in charge to take care of me. And I'm so damn busy taking care of everybody else, I'm neglecting myself and not being particularly happy about it. Nobody is, neither are you, but we're doing it. So when are we going to break this chain? So the thing came was as 2026 came in, and I started before, but June of last year, that I was going to Vermont in a trip, and sitting in an Uber cab, I decided that not only I'm going to have a seat at the table, so I want to take care of everybody as best I can. I want to do as much good in the world as I can. But I'm going to make that darn sure that I take care of me. And I think that's really a good thing. I think that's really a mature thing. That you take care of you. That why are you, what are you going to gain by not doing it? Because when you're doing better, everybody else would do better. When you are happy, your children would be happy, because nobody wants a sacrificial lamb. It's like, oh my God, the heavy burden, like I'm doing this for you, and I went without, like, oh my God, it's like the smallest violin in the world, like, stop it. But I was doing that, so I decided I would stop that. And what am I going to participate is that if I can, I would assist everyone to be, I would enable them, but anything that I'm going to participate is going to enable them, like continues to perpetuate their bad behavior, and you don't want them to be mad at you, so you don't say it. You don't necessarily have to say it, but you don't have to support it. So those things that I'm going to stop, because it's on them. If people have choices to make. If they don't make the choice, maybe this is where they are. You don't have to judge them, but you can just accept them. Because when we go in and force and say, oh, you shouldn't do that, X, Y, and Z, well, unless there's like a public safety involved, I'll just say, let them do it. I'm almost used the word that let them, because now I realize lately that that's, what's her name?
Mel Robbins.
Mel
Robbins.
Robinson. I guess she wrote a book that let them, so like almost, because that's, we always said it, like, well, let them do it, right? So that is, really ask yourself, let them do it. Why would any of us have a need to, why is it my way is the correct way? I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out, if there's no harms and anything else. But I think it works for me. I can present it that way. But if it doesn't work for you, why should you be doing what I'm doing? And if you want to do whatever you want to do, it's your life. God didn't give your life to me, He gave it to you. We make choices. We make choices. So I think those are really important things, that we don't have to run around and save everybody, because we can't. We can barely save ourselves. But if you save yourself, everybody save themselves, this world would not have any problem. And this is right now, I'm putting my thumb on the scale, so to speak, because of what's going on in the world. So today, like, I went out and feeding a homeless, and I was at the Costco buying food. And I was coming out, and I said to the woman who was parked beside me, I don't know her. We just kind of come up, walked to our car simultaneously, and she was right beside me. So I said, what is the chance of that happening? I just kind of struck the conversation. And she said, the world is a very small world. Then we just looked at my basket and said, oh, what's that for? And I said I was really good today, because I didn't buy anything else other than what I went to get, which is the bananas, oranges, turkey, cheese, and bread to make sandwich for homeless people. And she said, oh my God, that's so good, and da 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 da. And she was telling me, and I said, well, I said, this is what I do, and I get all these sports. And she said, well, I'm not as, I don't do things in your scale. I said, oh, it's what I'm doing is not that big a scale. And she said, but I try to do what I can. And I said, of course you are. I said, that's wonderful. And so she started sharing her story. She said, I rent my house, and she was an immigrant like I am. She said, I rent my house out to people from Haiti. And they have a big family and things, so she told me the reasonable price that she give to them. Then she says to me, and she said, and they have because usually those family has a lot of extended family. So she said, the mother is really sick, and they barely could make ends meet. They're all working, so I only charge them this much. And then they are taking Uber to get her to the doctors, etc. So she said, I told them that make the doctor's appointment. I'm going to be coming down in such and such a day, and if you can make the doctor's appointment in those days, I would take you to doctors. And she's been doing that. I said, that is so great. I said, that is so wonderful. I said, that's what I mean. If you can just help one person in any way you can. Because I also taught yoga this morning, and that was the conversation too. You want to change the world? If we just help one person anyway, as you perceive as small, but it's not small. I said, tomorrow, we will wake up to a completely different world. Completely different world. Can you imagine that? So that is something that's a power within you. We feel so helpless. We're not. We don't have to scream and yell. We don't have to do whatever. Decide, who are you? Are you a good person? Do you want a light in your life? Do you want a joy in life? Then be joyful and treat others with that joy. And if you could just do it to one person, just to one person, whether opening a door, or carrying a grocery, or driving them to the doctor. If that's something I used to do with the elderly, you can be a member of a senior citizens, and because a lot of people can't drive, just take them to the doctors once in a while. Any of those things, showing the love. And I think right now, and do what I've been doing, which is grounding, meditation, and I spend about 2 hours a day in a total these days, because I don't want to be reactive. I don't want to run around this life like my head is on fire, or whatever the expression goes. I want to be centered, and I want the world to be a better place for you and I, and for everyone in it. And how that's going to... So yes, I am a rebel. You are a rebel. Step into it as the best you can, and you can make all the difference. We don't have to sit back and feeling helpless and crazy. So that is what I have to say, and I'm going to stop on my part, because I am hoping to... Is that turned on the pivot thing?
I'm
So
not sure if it's...
I would love to hear Katrin say something on your part.
Something on my part, no.
Okay.
I don't think it's working.
It's not working because we have like this
A 360
360
But we
tripod,
can turn it, I
and we're
suppose, if
just
you wanna
going.
do that.
And once I don't know what particular time, so you get to hear all this. Like I said, there's nothing I do for my lack of knowledge is contrived. It's alive as it's going to get, so we're just going to... I done it once and it did work, but I have no idea. So I'm just going to turn and I'm going to ask, okay, what do you have, what do you think about that, Kat? Do you want to add to that? Like, have you felt helpless and crazy and like I can't turn on the news, that kind of thing?
No, not necessarily.
That's
know,
good.
Yeah, well, because I think, I don't necessarily, I mean, I'm horrified by it, but I know, like you said, what I can do as far as changing the tone, even in my own home, my world, when I go out. I don't have to engage in that energy, you know what I mean? But I have to make that choice, because it is, and I have to stay centered and grounded, but I don't feel helpless. I think that, like, especially with with the political stuff, and seeing all the people doing what they're doing, it really is encouraging, and I think that there is a shift, people either, whether it's the protesting or going out and doing the sound healing and changing, the vibration, just even having these other conversations like what we're having tonight, I see that there's another website I came across last night that's Meaningful Conversations of Palm Beach County. So it's like,
wow.
Yeah, right? So I see these things happening. So even though there's these horrible things going on, I see the good. So I'm not as anxious, and
Right.
because I am grounded and I'm centered because of the
And I think
practices
I
that we
notice
do.
also by looking at around the world, it's like what I say. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be, out there like, demonstrating in the negative way or anything like that. But I am going to be going out feeding the homeless. I am going to go out and say, what can I do for you? Just different way bringing the light.
Yes.
So, and I feel like there's so much of that in the world. I don't feel helpless. And also, when you hear about the stories that are coming out of Minnesota or the Minneapolis,
Yes.
is when you hear these people are standing in the cold, delivering groceries, helping each
Right.
other. I mean, what a heartwarming
Yes.
story. So when we begin to recognize, this, I heard so many people say, it's not the ones on the top 1 or 2% is going to ship this. It's the all of us, and the people really been on the up front, and just being a kind human being, whether it's at the food pantry, giving out food, or just right.
Right. Those are the differences that I'm able to make and you're able to make, and yes, and then we vote.
Right, but other thing is
So-
also, I think it's important to be informed, important to be watching it. It's like so when
Absolutely.
something horrible is happening to me, looking at saying, "Oh, Catherine, I'm not going to engage in that because,
Yes,
I just going to stay focused. I'm just going to look at your pretty hair and I'm just going to ignore your bleeding in the side." I mean, that's just
Yes.
ridiculous, right?
Absolutely.
So being able to look at the totality of it, saying, "Okay, what can I do to bring in the positive?"
Right.
And I think we are all learning that together. I think we are all learning that. Is because if we keep talking about there's like I get hundreds feeds every day, that I don't read them all because I know what's happening. Like if you're hurting, I know you're hurting. Now what can I do to help you? Do I need to know all the detail of every single thing? That would consume me,
Yes.
and I couldn't do anything else.
Right.
And also it fester your anger in all the thousand ways, it would just pull you down. So I don't do that. I just don't, I look at the names, I just look at the head, and I get it, and I'm doing the best I can, whether it's donating the money or whatever that it is, way that you can help.
Right.
But people shouldn't be reading every single thing, and then they go on and have a conversation like, do you know what so-and-so did? Like, okay, the floodgate is opening and things are coming, it's bad. Like, do you really need to know all the nuance?
Right.
Unless you're the lawyer or the prosecutor or something. So, again, I'm so encouraged, and of course you are very much centered, but I think you have dealt with it fabulously. I mean, we are aware, and we are doing what we can. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. Every day.
yeah. And of course, your children and your grandchildren. So how you show up, Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
And Nick, do you have anything to add? Has this world of what's going on has been a difficult, or are you kind of, yeah, okay. So I think in that we are going to